There's a saying, if lions do not write their own stories, these stories will always glorify the hunters, which means that if as African people who were colonized, we don't write the history from our perspective, the books that we read will always glorify those who colonized the continent, who colonized us. So it's very, very important. So for me, that's the main reason for writing the book. Secondly, given that now we are 30 years in freedom as South Africans, there was a time, especially when the state capture, corruption reports start coming up, people were getting very disillusioned and disheartened, and possibly beginning to doubt that it was fighting for freedom and getting freedom was worth it at all. So I said to myself, I need to write the book to talk about those disappointments, also to talk about the fact that it cannot end there. There are great opportunities that freedom has created, but the state capture and corruption reminds us that we must not be complacent and think that we have arrived. Especially us as educated class, we need to be aware and take seriously the fact that we have to lead by example and not simply enjoy the fruits of freedom. Understand that freedom has actually only created conducive conditions for us to really design and implement programs to ensure that the majority of South Africans are taken out of poverty and ignorance. So the question of how we lead becomes very important in making sure that the majority is actually lifted out of misery and hopelessness. So what we have seen in the last 15 years of state capture and corruption is that leaders have failed. The people of South Africa have failed. We as leaders, we have failed the citizens of this country. It is for this reason that I said I must make my own humble contribution on what needs to happen for us to lead differently. I said then, as part of that agenda of making sure that from now onwards we lead with purpose. I said one of these principles is self-mastery. What I mean by mastery is a person who has come to a stage of self-realization where you are confident that you are in charge of your destiny. You do not use as excuses the fact that you were either a victim of apartheid in the past, or you come from a poor family, or you are influenced by friends who see nothing wrong with things that are unethical and so on. But a person who says, I have an independent will as an individual to actually sift the impulses, the messages, the experiences that I'm exposed to. I've got that independent will to sift those and decide how I respond to them. I cannot just say that I'm driven by my peer group. I'm not driven by the pressures that are coming from society. You have got the independent will. You stand and say, use your independent will to evaluate and decide how to respond. If people don't have self-mastery, there's always a danger that when there's a current that is really leading to a situation where corruption and bad behavior increases, there will be one will not have the strength to hold back and say that whatever the crowd is doing, I'm not going to be a part of that. Ndizawuthi ke uba ndingatsho ke ngolwakuthi ulwimi, kubalulekile uthi xa ungumntu ukhula uzifundise ube nomqolo uthembeke. That's what it means to be a master of yourself. Ube nomqolo uthembeke.